This
All right.
meeting is being recorded.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's dive into advanced training. So we were just sitting in here talking earlier, and I thought this was a really good segue, and I want to get this out. So in your guys' fast start, or well, first of all, welcome to advanced training, you guys. Congratulations on completing your first weekend, diving into your as a second weekend on the job. And I just want to let you guys know it's not the way you start, it's the way you finish that's important. We've had countless reps, and I have countless stories of people who didn't get off to the fastest and strongest starts. Curtis JQ is the #1 rep in Cutco history. He's at $10 million in sales right now. And in his first weekend, he sold a single hunting knife to his grandma because his grandma felt bad because no one bought from him. So he was sold a whopping 76 CPO in his first weekend. And now eventually sold a little under 3K in his entire fast start. But now he's the #1 rep in Cutco history. Maritza Perez didn't sell anything for her first 2.5 months on the job, ended up becoming a 2-time branch winning champion, along with running our South Denver office. Alana Wilkins. Alana Wilkins ended up not selling anything for her first month and a half, ended up selling $10,000 in a 2-week push period, and doubled her career sales and ended up becoming a branch manager that next summertime. So the whole point of me just kind of throwing those quick stories at you guys is because I know you guys have big goals. I know you guys have big aspirations. I know you guys want to go after and achieve really big things, but it's not the way you start. It's all about the way you finish, right? And you're supposed to get better every single time you guys do your demos and every single time you do your presentations. You guys aren't even a week on the job yet. So if you're not seeing the results yet, that's okay. You guys are right where you need to be. Whatever happened this weekend was supposed to happen. Whether you had a baller first weekend and you sold a ton and you're like, dude, this job is awesome, or whether you didn't sell anything and everything that possibly bad that could have happened. Like you got tech issues, people canceled, people rescheduled, people said no, people were mean. Whatever happened this weekend was supposed to happen, and that's just going to be a part of your story. So what do you want your story to be? And that's kind of what this advanced training process is all going to be about, is just moving you guys forward into that next part, into that next step of your guys' Cutco careers. So no matter what happened, I don't care. I don't care if you guys sold $1 million worth of Cutco, $1 worth of Cutco, or no dollars worth of Cutco. This advanced training process is all about moving forward in the next 2 to 3 weeks of your guys' fast start and the rest of your guys' Cutco careers. And I really care about the long-term vision and your guys' being here for a long time versus just your guys' first weekend. So with all that being said, you guys can go ahead and pull out your guys' notebooks, and you guys can title this advanced training. It's going to be advanced training. And we are going to be diving into a lot of deep levels into our business. And I'm really excited to teach this stuff to you guys because I think it's going to be really beneficial. I think it's going to be really beneficial for all of you guys. So with that being said, the first thing that we're going to be going over is the 10 keys to 10K. So you guys can go ahead and jot that down in your notes, the 10 keys to 10K. Now, why is getting to 10K so important? Getting to 10K is so important because once you get to 10K in sales, you have the ability to work a part-time schedule, but make full-time income. When you guys are first starting off, the effort that you guys put in and the amount of money you guys make stays the same, right? You guys put in a lot of work, you guys get some good money back. But the more that you get higher in career sales, the work stays constant, but the income grows and grows and grows. So you can put the same amount of effort in and receive double, triple, or quadruple the reward once you get to $10,000 in sales. And so that's the importance of getting into dirty 30s, because that unlocks that ability to work that part-time schedule, put in the same amount of work and receive triple the reward. So let's go ahead and dive into key number 1. So key number 1 into getting to 10K is getting your recommendations approached memorized. Get your recommendations approach memorized. Like I said earlier in training to you guys, your recommendations approach isn't going to be the most influential part. It's not going to be the most It's not gonna be like the most needle moving thing in your guys' first weekend, but recommendations will keep you guys here for a long time. The more recommendations you guys have, the more power and the more confidence that gives to you guys. So being able to get that recommendation script to memorize is going to be the biggest and best tip. And that's why I put it at number one, to getting to 10K. When you're going after $10,000 in sales, it's about the long end. It's not about the playing the long game and the end game. And so when you have those recommendations memorized, when you get out of your fast start and you're out of the people that you like initially know, it's going to be really easy to call those recommendations and referrals, and then you can fall back on those people that you guys can now give a call to. So for example, it's like, would you guys rather jump into 10 feet of water or 10 inches of water? I'd rather dive into 10 feet of water. 10 inches is going to hurt. You're going to hit the ground pretty quick, right? So when you build up your referrals and recommendations, it's like jumping into 10 feet. So you want to stack as many recommendations as you possibly can. And when you have that recommendations approach memorized, it just brings you that extra layer of confidence. And it doesn't make it sound like you're reading a script as much. So that's going to be key number one, is getting that recommendations approach to memorize. Key number two is going to be get your objections memorized. Get your closing objections memorized. The closing objections memorized. So you guys remember in training when I went through that slideshow of like, hey, this is the closing approach, this or the knee-jerk reactions, and I like put up on the thing, it's like objections are a good thing, the knee-jerk reactions. You guys know what I'm talking about? Cool. Yeah. So getting that objections tab memorized and getting all those objections memorized will bring that extra layer of confidence. And it was funny because me and Drew Frank were actually talking the other day, and we're talking about other salespeople, because as salespeople, other people who do sales come to us all the time and pitch their ideas and pitch their products to us because they want our opinion on it. And it's funny because we'll give them an objection. Like, do you want to get this? I'm like, no. And they're just like, oh, okay. And then they don't know what to do. And like, I do that on purpose just to be like, hey, what is this person going to do? How are they going to react? Are they going to ask again for the order? Are they going to give me an objection? Are they going to handle my objection? Are they going to ask me what my objection is? Right. So when you're doing that sales presentation, being able to handle that objection is so key and so important as well. And when you get things memorized, it just brings that extra layer of confidence. Key number 3 to getting to 10K is going to be participate in phone jams. Participate in phone jams and make sure that you guys are making phone calls. The number one cash flow of this job is going to be calling people on the phone. The more people that you guys call on the phone, the more demos you book, the more money you make. So for me, I knew every single time I made the phone, it was like the slot machine that I always paid back. I'd put $1, I put an hour of my time in, and I get $200, $300, $400 back in return. So fall in love with the phone. Make sure that you guys are going to team meetings. Make sure you guys are coming to these advanced trainings so that you guys can get that phone time in as well. That is going to be the biggest needle mover. Phone time is really the working time, right? You guys have all done demos. Demos are the fun part. Demos are the easy part, right? And so when we're doing phone calls, that's when we're really working. So making sure that you guys set plenty enough time aside in your day to make sure that you have time to pick up the phone and dial. Next, key number 4 is field training. Field training is going to be huge. So we have assistant managers on our team, such as Annie Neeson, who will actually take you guys field training. So she'll have you guys hop on her Zoom, and you'll be able to watch Annie Neeson do a demo. And this is going to be so key and so important because you get to watch an expert and a pro do your demo. Or you can have someone like me or one of our other assistant managers like Devin Tremble. You can have him watch you guys do a demo and then have him give you advice on your guys' demo and on your guys' presentation. So being able to take someone field training or go with someone field training is going to be absolutely huge, because then you're getting points and perspectives from the best of the best in our office, and they'll be able to give you the real tips, tricks, and advice to really get the most out of this job and get the most out of your demos. Key number 5 is going to be weekly PCs with your team leader, weekly PCs with your team leader. So making sure that you guys get a weekly one-on-one call with me, and I'll make sure to schedule those one-on-one calls with you guys here after advanced training. I'll make sure to get that one-on-one time with you guys, but make sure you guys are talking to me on a weekly basis, because in our one-on-ones, I'll be able to really dive in and help you with the things that you guys are specifically needing help with, instead of you guys waiting for an advanced training or waiting for a team meeting to happen. You guys can directly reach out to me and I'll be able to answer any questions that you guys may have. So getting that weekly one-on-one with me is going to be absolutely huge. Key number six is going to be Mission 100. Mission 100. Now, what's Mission 100? Mission 100 is having at least 100 people on your names and numbers list that you can call and give a call to at any given time. The more names and numbers you have, the more confidence it brings to you. So being able to pick up the phone and knowing if, hey, I have 100 people to call, that brings that extra layer of confidence. And if you call 100 people, you're booking at least 40 demos, right? With that 4-to-1 ratio, you're booking at least 40 presentations. So always striving to get more names and numbers. So like, I know, for example, Jason, you're in college right now and you're in the dorm rooms. Every person I walk by, every person I see in the cafeteria, every single person on a sports team, I'd be asking all of them for their parents' names and numbers. When I was in college, I'd really walk down the dorm rooms and I would knock on people's doors. I'd be like, hey, I'm Trey. Nice to meet you. I live down the hall. Can I get your mom's name and number? I'm going after this scholarship to help pay my way through school. I'm just going to ask them a quick question. Is it okay if I grab their number? And I literally went down all of the halls and all of my dorm rooms and asked everyone for their names and numbers. And it was such an easy connection because I had direct access to hundreds of thousands of students at my college. I ended up selling $10,000 plus just to the people's parents that lived in my hall. Awesome. So make sure that you guys are always striving to have those names and numbers on your guys' list. Next, and this is going to be the big one, is 10 demos ahead per week. Always have 10 demos ahead per week. Having 10 demos ahead is so important, and here's why. So if you have 10 demos ahead, do you think that at least 2 or 3 of those people are going to cancel or reschedule or forget about it, forget about the demo? Who here has that, like that flaky on who always like forgets every? Yeah, me too. So let's say you book 10 presentations and let's say 3 people cancel and reschedule on you. That leaves you with 7. That leaves you with 7 appointments left. If we have a 60% close, 60% of 7 is 4. So if we're closing on 4 orders, and let's say we have a low average order of 250 and our office is about 350, 400. So we're really going to lowball this. 250, 250, 250, 250, 250 times 4, $1,000 in sales, and you're hitting that next promotion. But it took 10 demos to get there. So when you book 10 plus demos ahead, that brings that another layer of confidence, knowing that no matter if someone cancels on me, someone reschedules on me, or if someone says no and I don't close on the order, as long as I close on 4 of those 10 with a low average order, I'm at least getting to that next $1,000 in sales. And when you guys have $1,000 in sales, no matter what percentage level you're at, that's a good paycheck for you guys. So that's the importance of having 10 demos ahead every single week. Key number 8 to getting to 10K is going to be 5 before and 5 after. So making 5 phone calls before your demo, 5 phone calls after your demo. You guys did a great job this weekend of calling me before, during, and after all of your guys' appointments. So thank you for calling and reaching out. So now what I want you guys to start doing is I want you to make 5 phone calls and try to do a demo, book a demo. Do a demo, book a demo. What that does is that always keeps the same number of demos ahead. So you guys don't have to sit down and phone for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. I'm not sure about you guys, but I hated going to 2, 3, 4 hour long phone jams. Afterwards, I felt pretty good because I had 10, 20 demos ahead. But once you guys get those 10, 20 demos ahead, keeping the same 10, 20 demos ahead by doing 5 phone calls before, 5 phone calls after. If you can do a demo and then book a demo, you'll always have the same number of demos ahead no matter what. So that just breaks up your phone time into bite-sized pieces. And how long does it take you to make 5 phone calls? Like in theory, the longest it should take you is 10 minutes. And if each phone call takes 2 minutes and you book each one, each call you make. So 10 minutes before your demo, 10 minutes after your demo, you're taking 20 minutes and booking a lot more presentations and having a lot more demos ahead. And that's if everyone answers. So what that does is just breaks it up into bite-sized pieces. And we're going to be diving into phone calls here in a little bit as well. And we're giving you guys some phone tips as well. Lastly, key number 9, or almost last, key number 9 is time management and event attendance. Time management and event attendance, making sure that you guys have a calendar or a schedule. I recommend Google Calendar. Google Calendar is going to be your best friend. I don't know where I would be without my Google Calendar. I use it for literally everything, all day, every day. I use my Google Calendar for everything. I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer. And what do you always have with you? You always have your phone with you. So you never forget when or where you're supposed to be. I absolutely love this thing. If you're more of a paper calendar person, that's okay too. Whatever works for you to organize your time, that's going to be absolutely key. Along with time management, event attendance. I want you to write this down. 90% of this job is showing up. The other 10% is effort. If you show up and have effort, you will achieve anything that you want in this job. The reason why I stuck around for so long in this job and the reason why I became a district manager is because I went to every single advanced training. I went to every single team meeting. I went to every single event that we had. If they're like, hey, come here, do this, do this. I was there, and I never regretted going to a team meeting. I never regretted going to a division meeting or an advanced training. Anytime I had the opportunity to be around Cutco and Vector people, I always enjoyed it and I learned so much. I invested a little bit more of my time, took 2 steps backward to take 5 steps forward. So if you guys can manage your time and show up to events, you guys will be here for a really long time. Key number 10 is the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you learn, the more you earn. So the more you learn about the business, the more you learn about Cutco, the more you learn about Vector, the more you learn about certain aspects of the business, the more money you'll start to make, right? There's a lot of layers and a lot of depth to this job. We're on the very surface level right now. Like I said, we haven't been on this job for a week yet. But being able to learn more and get more knowledge on every single job, every single aspect of this job will be the #1 tip to your guys' success. I have filled like at least like 6 of these notebooks, like full of notes. And like you can see here, oh, I just had a bunch of papers fall out, but I filled up a bunch of these notebooks throughout the years, just of tips, tricks, knowledge, and things that I've picked up at conferences, things I've learned from other managers. And I feel like the more I learn, the better and better I get at this job, and the more money I end up making as a result. So those are 10 keys to getting to 10K. Does anyone have any questions on that? Cool. So the next thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to share my screen with you guys. And I just want to talk a little bit more about the advancement process. Oh, and can you guys see my screen?
I can see it, but I can't read it.
Okay, let's try this again. Here we go.
Okay.
What about this? Is that good?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I just want to talk about the advancement opportunity for you guys, and just let you guys know the positions that we have here in Vector and Cutco, because the more, just because I want you guys to know that there's more to this job than just the sales rep position. We have a lot of different levels and a lot of different ways for leadership and advancement. So you guys remember my interview when I said I'm looking for more assistant managers. I'm also looking for more career office managers and more sales professionals as well. This is what I was talking about. So I just want to get you guys kind of a understanding, an idea of kind of how this job works, how the commission levels work, and what positions are up for grabs and what are up for open. So when you're from $0 to $1,000 in sales, you're a trainee and you're at 10% commission. So whatever you sell, you'll make 10% of. That once you hit that first promotion and you're at $1,000 in sales, you get to be at 15% and make give yourself a 50% raise, and get to be at 15% of whatever you sell. $3,000 in sales, you get to be at 20%. $6,000 in sales, you're at 25%. $10,000 in sales, you're at 30%. And that's when you get to dirty 30, and you're making 30% commission on everything that you sell. And that's really the place to be and the spot to be. Because if you sell $1,000 in a week and you're at 30%, you're making $300 for working part-time. If you do 10 demos and complete all 10 demos and sell $1,000, you put in 10 hours and made 300. That's like unheard of. Next is 20%, and this takes us to bonus land. And what bonus land is, it's pretty cool. So you'll be at 35%. So in your weekly paycheck, you'll get 30% back on all of your guys' sales. But once we start getting to these bonus levels, you have to hit certain levels in the month to get that extra 5%. So you'll always make 30%. So for example, for the 4K level, you'll have to sell, well, to get 10%, you'll have to sell 4K, 15%, you'll have to sell an additional 6K. And to get that 20%, you'll get 8K. You have to sell 8K in the month to get to those bonus levels. So you can see it goes from 30, 40, 45, 50. The 30% stays constant, so that's what you'll get in your paycheck. And then at the end of the month, depending on how much you sold down here, will be determined on how much you guys make back. So for example, Annie Neeson on our team, she's at 40%. So when she's at 40%, she just has to sell 4K, which is newsletter 4 weeks in a row. And then she gets that additional 10% bonus on everything that she makes, which is pretty cool. Another really cool thing is once you get to $20,000 in sales, you get to be part of our sharpening training. What our sharpening training is you get to learn how to sharpen Cutco knives. So if you guys like call someone on the phone and they're like, oh, we already have Cutco, we don't need any more. You can be like, hey, when's the last time you got your knife sharpened? They'd be like, not for a long time. And say, hey, I'm actually qualified to come over to your house, sharpen your knives, and make sure that they're up to par. And if they're not, we can send them back to the factory, which is pretty cool. So this is what our CSPs do, what our Cutco sales professionals do as well, which is pretty cool. So you get to go sharpening training. You also get to be part of our show team program, which like at like the Denver, have you guys ever been to like the Denver State Fair or like the Colorado State Fair, and you see like all the people with booths around? So what our Cutco sales professionals do is they'll set up a Cutco booth. People will come up to the booth. They'll be like, hey, is this Cutco? And you'll be like, yeah, it is. They're like, oh, I actually need a table knife, or I've never heard of this. Can I buy some? And they're like, sure. I've seen people sell thousands of dollars at the booth, and people just walk up to you, ask to buy, and you just sell them whatever they want, which is pretty cool. Does anyone have any questions on the commission levels or what you can do at each commission level? Cool. So next I want to go ahead and dive into is just kind of some of the positions that we have open and available. So the first position is an AMIT. An AMIT is an assistant manager in training, and it's the first level of management. AMITs are training and have the opportunity to be promoted to become an assistant manager. This is what our key staff program is. So our key staff program, you guys will hear a little bit more about that today in team meeting. But that's pretty much that first step in leadership and advancement opportunity to become an assistant manager. Now, what is an assistant manager? Assistant managers help run the office. They get dual income by selling, and they also get additional pay from working in the office. So pay is based off a percentage of office sales, depending on your responsibilities and schedules. So for example, on our team, Annie Neeson, she's making 1% of all office sales. So whatever she sells, she gets an additional 1%, and then she gets in 1% of what everybody else in the office sells as well. So you get dual income. You get income from the office and from your guys' personal sales. The assistant manager position was probably one of my favorite positions in the job. And I really enjoyed my time as an assistant manager. Next is the sales manager. So what a sales manager is the lead assistant manager, and they're a full-time assistant manager in the office. They're pretty much my right-hand person. So for us, it is Zach Utera. Zach helps us with literally everything with training, interviews, teaching, coaching. Zach's kind of my right-hand person, and he does full-time assistant manager work. Next is the branch manager. Now, what a branch manager is our summer internship program. So the branch managers are summer internship program. And I want you guys to write this down. I want you guys to really understand what this is. But it is a branch managers get to open their office for 4 months, so May through August, and they conduct interviews, run trainings, develop their own sales force, and they get to open up their own seasonal business. They also get to sell at 50% and straight 50. They don't have to hit bonus level or anything. So they sell a trimmer and they're making like $40, which is pretty nuts. And they also get qualified for company trips. So you guys remember in the interview when I showed you guys all the places I've been, like Mexico, Hawaii, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta. I won all of those as a branch manager. So a branch manager opens you up to the opportunity to travel the world, which is pretty cool. You also make 50% commission and you get $6,000 in startup. You get $6,000 in startup. So even if you open up as a branch office and your office does terrible, sells nothing, you still made $6,000 in that 4-month time frame, which is going to be pretty much more than any what your friends make. Pretty much being a branch manager is like getting your MBA, your master's in business administration, in 100 days. That's the best way I can describe it. I learned more in my branch manager experience than I did in all 4 years of my college career. I'm not putting down my college education. I'm just saying that that's how strong and how powerful our branch manager internship program really is. Next is our pilot sales manager, and they're responsible for the daily operations of our pilot office. The pilot office is the largest office in our division with the largest volume in sales, and that's Drew Frank's South Denver office. So the pilot pretty much helps Drew and works side by side with Drew Frank on a daily basis and helps him build up his office and his sales team and his sales force. So instead of working side by side with me, you'd be working side by side with Drew Frank, which is a really cool opportunity as well. Next is our CSP opportunity, or our Cutco sales professional opportunity. And what this is full-time sales. So career sales representatives who achieve over $100,000 in annual sales earn 50% commission. They're eligible for bonuses, contests, and they are also eligible for company trips, and they get to travel the world as well, which is pretty awesome. Next is the district manager position, which is the one that I do. So it's our career position in management. Income opportunities anywhere from $50,000 to $300,000 in sale or in income for the year. You get to manage your own office year round. You're eligible for company trips along with bonuses on the month, campaign, and annual bonuses as well. You also get to be part of our BMW or Tesla program, which is pretty cool. So what the company does is they deposit $500 in your account every single month to either buy a BMW or buy a Tesla. So I've been stacking up those and I'm going to pay for mine in full. I think I have like $3,000 so far saved in that car bonus account. And I'm just going to wait until I have enough money just to put all of it down and buy my BMW and buy my Tesla with that, which is pretty cool. Personal opinion, district manager is the best position that we got, but I might be a little biased because that's one that I do. Next is our division manager. So our division manager is Drew Frank. And what the division manager is responsible for is targeting, developing, mentoring, and overseeing all the offices in our division. And they also run their pilot office as well. So we are in the Rocky Mountain division, and Drew Frank is our division manager. In the Southwest region, we have over 10 divisions. We have Rocky Mountain, Rising Sun, Gulf Coast, Lone Star, Texoma, Great Plains, Southern Rock, the SEC, and Southern Tide. So all of those are divisions within our Southwest region. And then next is our region manager. Our region manager is Lloyd Reagan, and his job is to work with the division managers. So Lloyd works with the division managers work with our district managers, and our district managers get to work with you guys. So Lloyd's headquarters is located in Austin, Texas, and we have 7 regions within our company. So we have the Southwest, Western, Central, Midwest, Northeast, Eastern, and then the Canadian region. And then lastly is the president of Cutco, or the CEO, and that is Bruce Goodman. And his headquarters is in San Francisco, California. Bruce Goodman is a really cool guy. I've had the opportunity and the chance to meet him a couple times. I showed you guys pictures of me and Bruce hanging out and kicking it. So really good president, really cool guy. So these are all the levels for advancement and leadership opportunity and taking that next step outside of the sales rep position. And what I want you guys to go ahead and do is I want you to write down a position that you think is really cool, that you would be like, hey, Trey, one day I want to be this. I want to be this one day. I think this would be really cool. I'd love to be able to do blank, blank, and blank, and blank with my Cutco career with these levels of leadership and advancement. So I want you guys to go ahead and take a second and write down whatever position that you think is really cool that you would want to aspire towards. Awesome. Can I get a thumbs up once you guys have that written down? Perfect. So the next thing I want to go ahead and dive in here with you guys is I want to show you guys how to make $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 in your first 2 months on the job. And so I just want to lay down kind of like the surface of what these numbers are going to be really built on. So it's going to be based on company averages. So for every 7 demos that you do, accounts for $1,000 in sales. So like I said, you book 10 demos, you complete 7, you sell on 4, 250 times 4, $1,000 in sales. So for every 7 demos that you guys complete will equal $1,000 in sales. So if you guys want to make $2,000, and I want you guys to write each level, each of these down. I want you to write down these guys right here. So if you want to make $2,000 in income in your first 2 months on the job, it takes you getting to $10,000 in sales. $10,000 in sales over 2 months breaks down to about 7 demos per week, which is an average of a demo a day, and then 2 demos per day in your fast start. That's how you make $2,000 in your first 10 days. So overall, that's going to be about 50 to 70 demos, and your fast start is going to be 5 to 6 demos a day. Over your first month, it's going to be about 10 demos a week, and over 2 months, it's going to be a demo a day. So if you do 1 demo a day for 60 days, you'll hit $10,000 in sales and make $2,000 in income. The next level is $5,000 in sales. So $5,000 in sales, or $5,000 in income, correction. $5,000 in income is equivalent to about $20,000 in sales. $20,000 in sales is about anywhere from 100 to 140 demos, which is about 2 demos per day, which is doubling what we did to get to 10K. So it's 14 demos a week for 8 weeks, which breaks down to 2 per day. So we have 1 demo a day to get to 10K, 2 demos a day to get to 20K. And then you guessed it, if you want to make $10,000 in sales or make $10,000 in income in your guys' first 10 days on the job, or first, wow, words are hard. Numbers are hard. If you want to make $10,000 in income in your first 2 months on the job, what it takes is about $33,750 in sales, which is about 20 demos per week, which is about on average about 3 demos per day. If you do 3 demos a day for 60 days, you will sell $10,000 in sales. Now, this is the level that I went after when I first started. What I would do is I would do about 7 to 10 demos on Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and a Sunday, depending on what my friends were doing. And I would work the weekends like crazy. And I would use the weekday to focus on school. Now, when the summer came rolling around, I was doing a lot more demos spread out throughout the week. But I sold $35,000 within my first 2 months on the job. So when I started, I made, I think, $12,000 in income-ish, $12,000 in income in my first 2 months on the job, which is pretty cool. Does anyone have any questions on how to make $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 in sales or in income? Cool. So here's how you do it. Here are some keys to success. So one is work twice as hard in your fast start. When you work twice as hard in your fast start, it's like lifting weights, right? If you like are used to lifting the 50-pound dumbbells and then you go to the 20-pound dumbbells, the 20 pounders are going to feel really light, right? So it's in your fast start. Can you do 4, 5, 6 demos a day? Then pick up the smaller dumbbells, which is like 2 to 3 demos a day, right? So that's the importance of working twice as hard in your fast start. Next is consistency in the phone, 10, 20, or 30 phone calls per day. If you want to sell $10,000 in sales, make 10 calls a day. If you want to make $20,000 in sales, make 20 calls a day. And you guessed it, if you want to make $30,000 in sales, you're going to make 30 calls a day. So strive for that 5 before, 5 after. Always have 10 demos ahead, and then just mentality. Your biggest sales always come after your no sales, and your best days always come after your worst days. I've had days in this job where I just want to bang my head against the wall, throw my phone off a bridge, and just quit. And I've also had days where I'm like, this is the best day ever. This is the best job ever. I just made like $200 in an hour. I just made $1,000 in an hour with this sale, whatever it might be. So don't let the bad days outshine the good days. And don't let the good days get to your head. So just the mentality behind that. So next, I want to talk about consistency. So phoning is the answer. So we just talked about how to get to $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000 in sales, which equated to $2,000, $5,000, and $10,000 in income. And I want you guys to write this down as well. I'm going to zoom in on this so you guys can see these numbers a little bit better. But I just want to walk you guys through this. Phoning is the answer. Phoning is the answer. If you guys are having a ton of people reschedule on you, make more phone calls. If you're not getting the amount of sales that you want, make more phone calls. This job is all a numbers game. It's all a numbers game. And the main number I want you guys to be focused on is the number of phone calls you guys are making. So 10 phone calls a day equals 10K. So that's 10 calls 5 days a week, which adds up to 50 calls a week. If you make 50 calls a week, you'll book 7 demos. If you book 7 demos, you get $1,000 in sales. And that is a guaranteed $10,000 in sales for the campaign. And that's $2,000 in income if you're starting from scratch. So that's 5 phone calls every morning, 5 phone calls every night, or 5 before, 5 after every single one of your guys' demos that you guys do. Next level is going to be $20,000 in sales, which is going to equivalent to about 20 phone calls a day. 20 phone calls a day will equal 20K. So 20 calls 5 times a week is 100 calls. If you make 100 calls a week, you'll book at least 14 demos. 14 demos booked will equal to about $2,000 in sales. And that's a guaranteed $20,000 in sales from the campaign. $5,000 in income if you're starting from scratch. So now we're just going to double those numbers. It's 10 phone calls in the morning, 10 phone calls at night, or 5 before, 5 after each one of your demos. And then the last level is going to be $30,000 in sales. And that's going to be 30 phone calls a day, or 30 phone calls a day. So you make 30 phone calls 5 days a week. It's 150 phone calls, which is 21 demos booked. If you book 21 demos, $3,000 in sales, which is guaranteed $30,000 in sales from the campaign. That's $8,500 in income if you're starting from 0. So it's 15 phone calls in the morning, 15 phone calls at night, or 5 before, 5 after all of your guys' demos. So when I first went through my advanced training process, I was like, I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to do the 30 calls a day. So what I did as an assistant manager to get to $30,000 in sales, as I made 10 phone calls in the morning when I woke up, I made 10 phone calls before I ate lunch, and I made 10 phone calls before I ate dinner. And I tied my mom into my goals. And my mom was like, Trey, before you eat dinner, go make 10 phone calls. I was like, Mom, are you serious? And she's like, yes, go make your phone calls. So I had my mom to hold me accountable to this, but making 30 phone calls a day, split it up. Just before you eat dinner, before you eat lunch, before you eat breakfast, and just making as many phone calls as you possibly can throughout the days, and always making sure that you have plenty of demos ahead no matter what. So let's talk about demo consistency. So 1 demo a day equals 10K, 2 demos a day equals 20K, 3 demos a day equals 30K. So what I want you guys to go ahead and do is I want you to circle one of these levels that I want you guys to go after, and I want you to write it out. So if you're going after $10,000 in sales, I want you to write down the numbers for that. If you're going after 20, write down all those numbers. If you're going after 30, write down those numbers. And I want you to circle it, highlight it, star it. And I really want you guys to be focused after hitting that goal, the goal that you set for yourself personally. So can I get a thumbs up once you guys have all those numbers written down for the goal that you're wanting to go after? Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Cool. Shauna, did you write that down? Perfect. So next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is if you can manage your schedule, you'll be able to guarantee your results. So what I want to walk you guys through is our part-time and full-time schedules and what it really looks like to work here part-time and what it looks like to work here full-time. So if you want to work here part-time and you're like, hey, Trey, I'm busy with school, I may have another job, and I just want to do this part-time, whatever it might be. Our part-time schedule is about 15 hours a week. 15 hours a week is part-time. So if you're doing 5 demos a week, and let's say on the long end that each demo takes you 2 hours, that's 10 hours of work. This factors in calls between a 5 before, 5 after. If you're doing in-person demos, driving to people's houses to do those presentations. If you or virtual demos, you probably might want to shoot for 7 because you can get a lot more done a lot quicker with the virtual presentation. Next is phone time. If you spend 2.5 hours phoning, you can pick 3 45-minute sessions or 1 hour session or 5 30-minute sessions, however you want to break it down, but making sure that you have 2.5 hours of phone time. Next is team meeting. Team meeting usually takes about 2 hours, sometimes a little bit quicker, sometimes a little bit longer, just depending on what we're going over. And then a 30-minute personal coaching session with your boy. So let's do the math on that. So if you have an average order of 250 with a 60% close, if you're doing 5 demos a week for 15 weeks, that's 75 demos, which is 45 sales, which will equivalent to $10,000 in $10,000 to $15,000 in sales, which is anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500 in income working part-time. Now, if you want to go over 5 demos, over 10 weeks, which is 50 demos, which equates to $1,500 or $2,000 in income in that 10 to 15 week period. Now, if you're wanting to do a full-time schedule, what we'll do is we'll just double that. We'll double everything we just did. So working 30 hours a week, doing 10 demos. If we're doing virtual demos, and if you guys are doing virtual demos or in-person demos, you might want to shoot for 12 to 15 demos a week, which should take up about 20 hours, 5 hours of phone time, 2 hours for team meeting. You'll do probably 2 coaching sessions with me then, because you're going to be like, Trey, I have way more questions and I'm doing way more. So you'll have a 1 hour coaching session with me, and then 2 hours for workshop, office time, business development. Our assistant managers have some extra work on the side as well. So if we're doing the math of a $300 average order with a 66% close, because the more you do, the better you get. If you're doing 10 demos over 15 weeks, you'll make $8,500 in income. If you do 10 demos over 10 weeks, it's 100 demos, which is $5,000 in income. So whether you're doing a part-time or a full-time schedule, guarantee your results. Guarantee your results no matter what. And these averages often exceed the projections. So consistency is really the key to success in Vector. So you guys can sit down with me and we can design a schedule that works best for you guys to get the most out of this job as well. So the next thing that I want to go ahead and go over, just to wrap up in our last 12 minutes, is mainly just the secret weapon. Is the secret weapon. So what is the secret weapon? I'm gonna let you guys in. Do you guys want to know what the secret weapon is? This is a sales technique I'm about to teach you guys, all right? And what the secret weapon is, it's how you sell a set every single time. So you guys want to learn how to sell a set every single time you guys do a demo? You guys don't sound too excited. I'm about to teach you how to sell a set every single time you guys do a demo. Every single time. You guys want to learn how to do that? Perfect. So here's how you sell a set every single time. It's called the secret weapon. I want you guys to go ahead and write this down in your notes. I want you guys to go ahead and write this down in your notes. So what you're going to tell your customers, you're going to say, hey, we have a special program for our customers called the Trade-In Special. What I can do is if you decide to get this set today, I can take blank amount off of the price instead of giving you the free items. All you have to do is trade in one of your least favorite knives, which is pretty cool. So I just threw that in the chat box for you guys, so you guys don't have to try to like guess what I said. So we have a special program for our customers called the Trade-In Special. So what I can do is if you decide to get this set today, I can take blank amount off the price of that set instead of giving you the free items. And all you have to do is trade in one of your least favorite knives. Because get it, they're trading in their old crappy knives and getting a discount on Cutco. The Trade-In Special. It's a secret weapon. No? You guys getting it yet? All right, whatever. You guys suck for not laughing at my jokes. But that is the Trade-In Special. So let me show you guys how to do this Trade-In Special. And you guys are probably thinking like, Trey, what are you talking about? Like, I want to be able to do this. Let me show you how to do it. So what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to go to Vector Connect, go to your interactive demo or Cutco Orders interactive demo. And then let me share my screen with you guys. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click the 3 lines. You're going to click the shop tab. And you're going to go down here to B block sets. You're going to click here on B block sets. Now, what do you guys notice about these sets that are different? What's different about these sets?
They don't have the steak knives or table knives in them.
Exactly. They don't have the steak knives or table knives. So what your customer is doing is they're buying like a Homemaker Plus 8 for the price of a regular Homemaker. Or they're buying a Studio Plus 4 for the price of a regular Studio set. So what you're going to do is you're going to add the Homemaker into your cart with the no table knives. You're going to come up to the top. You're going to add the table knives. Ooh. You're going to add the table knives to your cart. Change the quantity to 8 or however many it is. And what you're going to do is you're going to bonus. So now, instead of paying $15.49, your customers are only paying $12.25 instead, and they're getting over a $400 discount, which is a 20% off of the Homemaker set. So you guys can get up to 20% off any single block set that your customers want. Who thinks that's pretty cool? Who's like, Trey, you should have told me about this earlier this week and I would have sold way more sets. Who's a little mad at me for not telling you guys how to do that quite yet? No one's mad at me? Okay, perfect. Perfect. I was like, wow, no one's mad at me. I usually get one person who's like, Trey, screw you, man. I could have sold so many sets. But I have to teach it to you guys in the advanced training process, because if I try to teach you that in training, you guys would have been like, I don't even know what the hell's going on. So I teach you guys that in advanced training. So you guys can do that for any block set, from our Studio to our Ultimates to our Signature set. Any block set that has the table knives option, you guys can do this trade-in special with them. It is about a 20% discount on every single set. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Sometimes it's a little bit less. I think the lowest one is like 17% off. But anywhere from 17 to 20% off any block set that they want to get today. And the only thing they have to do is trade in one of their favorite knives or trade in one of their junky knives. Or I've even had customers in the past like, I don't want to get rid of my knives. I'm like, cool, just donate a can of food to your local food bank and that'll be perfect. So you can do it that way as well. So any questions on that? Jason, you're muted if you're trying to ask me something.
I just said no.
Oh, perfect. So with that being said, the last thing I want to go ahead and talk about. So you guys remember how we had that first weekend specials? Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of it. Those first weekend specials. Yeah, those first weekend specials, you guys can use those for as long as you guys want. So those Silver Cup specials that I showed you guys earlier, the tinyurl.com/first weekend specials. Do you guys remember those?
Yep.
Cool. So you guys can use those for as long as you guys want as well. And the way to find those, I want to show this to you guys as well. The way to find those Silver Cup specials is going to be on the shop tab. And if you guys click on this bundles box right here, you guys can organize this. Okay, perfect. From A to Z. I would love it if this loaded. Perfect. There we go. And I just refreshed it as soon as it popped up. Well, I have these Silver Cup specials in the bundles package. You just need to wait for it to load for a second. So if you scroll down, you can see like we have our Homemaker Silver Cup special. We have our Homemaker Silver Cup special number 2, Signature Set Silver Cup special number 1 and number 2 with either a friends and family discount or more free stuff. So all of those Silver Cup specials are going to be right here in this bundles package. So if your customers are wanting the Signature, Ultimate, Homemaker, or Cutco Kitchen in that Silver Cup special, they're all right there in that bundles tab. And basically the only thing that you guys have to do is, let's say they want to do the home Signature Set special number 2 with the more free stuff. Just click add to cart, and then it'll automatically add the Signature Set and bonus off all of the free stuff automatically. So all you need to do is go to the bundles, search it, click add to cart, change the colors of the Signature Set if they're wanting the pearl or the classic or the honey. Just do the cosmetic changes on things, and then it'll be right there for you guys to check out as well. So pretty cool stuff, huh?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that is everything I got for you guys for advanced training. So if you're watching the recording of this because you guys missed advanced training, go ahead and text me your guys' 7 takeaways. And I hope to see you guys here soon.